cakes, bread, fresh from the oven. Treat yourself.
You just have to live with it.
Walk blessed, my child. How may I help you?
I just don't see the fucking...
Let me... Malthus bless this body. Rid it of its afflictions and endow it with life, path abidingness and new strength. May your light guide this soul.
My sir?
Huh? Help you?
What? Watch yourself. The streets aren't safe this time of the day.
Yes. The food prodigy. I hope you can live up to what they say.
What?
You. I heard you passed the trial without going to the novitiate.
What?
So what's so spectacular about this? To me, our pal here looks like your average crypt corpse.
Well, he isn't. Do you see this marking on his forehead? That's a symbol of the Aegean, one of the two priest castes who reigned over the Pyrean Empire like the Lightborn did over Vin. He was no high priest, but more than an acolyte. Let's just hope he participated in the manufacture of the sigil stone back in the Pyrean era.
Well, hoping can't hurt. But look, we have company.
Dalvarek, Archmagister, how's the situation?
Walk blessed, Grandmaster. We're fine. Everything is ready. So this is him?
Yes, this is the Prophet.
Interesting. Truly interesting. I imagined you to be... different. I'm Lexiel Marigil, Archmagister of the Holy Order. Pleased to make your acquaintance. So, where do we start? Has the Grandmaster already informed you of the goal of this mission? Correct. Now you're wondering, how will this be possible? This is where the Word of the Dead comes into play. An old relic we'll need to find.
The Word of the Dead? I thought that was a legend.
No, it exists. And we also know where. Just so you understand, the Word of the Dead is an artifact that allows entering a deceased person's mind to relive his last memories as if they were your own.
And you want to do just that with our frozen pal here. This is the grand plan, right?
Right. You'll need to locate the Word of the Dead, teleport the Pyrean's body to you, and then enter his thoughts. And there you'll have to look for the words of the ritual. Well, we only lack the last words of this ritual. What you have to look for is an ornamental scroll, which looks just like the one on the drawing I'll give you in a moment. All you have to do is remember the glyphs and the scroll, then write them down once you're back in the waking world. That's right, but the priest himself did, and according to the legend, this should allow you to understand. True, but we're talking about a different form of magic. It works similarly to the forbidden school of entropy. You're telling me. I myself feel like a myriad in a toad's pond. But alternatively, we'd have to excavate every ruin on Vin and hope that some priest left one of the scrolls behind. Well, this is...
There's an old manor in Enderal's west that belongs to an old collector of artifacts. We received a tip that the word of the dead is in his possession.
Hang on. Are you talking about this odd fellow with the puppets? The aged man from the folk song?
I am. You won't take it. It will be enough to find it. Use it on the Pyrean and then leave. You will travel to the manor with Dalvarek, wait for nightfall, and then introduce yourself to the aged man as a fellow collector of artifacts. Then you will offer him this brooch, and if all goes well, he will offer you a quarter for the night to negotiate in the morning. Then it's all a matter of timing. Sneak out of your room, look for the word of the dead, and teleport the Pyrean to you. A good question, but no. The aged man is special, so to speak. Even the Lightborn ordered us to let him live in peace. The Black Guardian knows why. So, if we have to trick him, we will at least do it inconspicuously, which is why you and the mercenary are well suited for the task. No one will connect your faces to the Holy Order. Then you'll flee. There must be no violence, no matter what happens. Archmagister?
Yes, well, that is a good point. We don't know, because we don't even know what the artifact looks like. But, how goes the saying? The proof of the eating is in the pudding.
We'll manage somehow. And even if we don't, it definitely sounds like an adventure.
It's a great responsibility, be aware of that. But I have faith in both of you. Now get going as soon as you can. This mission will be fruitful. I can feel it.
Whew. And there they go. Yep, just meet me at the Myrids Tower at the Western Cliff. I'll go grab my stuff now.
Hello. I do? Thought I had gotten rid of it by now. But yes, I'm originally from Nirim. Just like you, as I've heard. Oh, I don't know. Probably because I don't have very fond memories of my time there. You know, if someone would have told you 20 years ago that one day I would be the Archmagister of the Holy Order, you'd have probably laughed in his face. It's absurd just to think of it. You know, I was a slave there. Yes, you see, I was born into a traveling group of Aeterna minstrels. I never got to know my father, though, and living that way was hard. So my mother eventually decided to burn all bridges behind us and start over. Sorry, I'm babbling. I don't want to bother you with my boring stories. Well, after some days on the road, we met a traveling merchant who gave us a ride to the next village. A small one named Sildren in the Salathan forest. It seemed almost perfect at the beginning. The place was quiet, and my mother found herself a job as a weaver in the local count's castle. One day, however, the count simply stopped paying her, and, well, when she asked for the reason, he told her that we were his property from that moment on. Just like that. Why wouldn't it be? We were just a woman and a young son, and he owned both the land and the local guard. We had to serve this Creole, that was the count's name, for 9 years. It was horrible. No one, We weren't the only slaves he kept, and the villagers were too afraid to do anything. As for Chancellor Baratheon's armies, well, I'd be surprised if they even knew Sildren existed. Pure luck, I suppose. One day, an Enderalian merchant and his escort passed through the village. They were on their way to Wave Rock to catch a ship from there. And just by coincidence, he saw me crushing some herbs I had found in the forest. That's what I did in the little spare time I had, you know. The Salathan forest is so incredibly rich with plants you have no idea. What I didn't know was that I had found an entire sheaf of God's Tongue. That impressed the merchant so much that he simply bought me. He left her there. Believe me, what he did had nothing to do with mercy. He just saw that there was money to be made off of me. I cried and protested, of course, but 2 months later, our ship arrived in Ark, where he got infected with flesh maggots and died shortly thereafter. Luckily enough, he was a sublime. And since his relatives didn't know what to do with me once he was dead, they simply asked the Order to grant me the novitiate, which they did. By the left path. Sounds crazy when I tell it like that, and it probably is. But back then, it just happened. I tried, but as you can imagine, my obligations made my options to do so very limited. Only recently, however, word reached me from a mercenary whom I sent over. According to him, Creo is dead, and his castle was deserted. But who knows if he just said that to appease me. I think when all of this is over, I might ask the Grandmaster for permission to travel there myself. And then, who knows? By the righteous path, now I really am babbling. I am sure a man like you has better things to do than listen to the stories of a boring old chronicler. I should probably get back to business. Forgive me.
Prophet?
Oh, hey.
The fabled prodigy. I hope you can...
Watch yourself. The streets aren't safe this time of the day.
Huh?
Keep walking.
Monsieur?
Walk blessed.
An opulent, nice, please. God will redeem you for your kindness.
You again. Thanks again for your help. How's well?
God will redeem you.
You again. Thanks again for your help. How's well?
Yes? Monsieur?
Hello, good to hear. Where to?
Walk blessed, friend. Where are you headed?
Ah, there you are. Ready to go? The scar. Well, let's put it this way. If you one day end up in a Talgalean tavern and two 6-foot-tall Arazalian women invite you into their room, you should either damn well know who they are or make a run for it. Never heard of it? It's the capital of Araziel. At least if you ask the civilized people. Hands up. Guilty. Some rich snob had hired me back then to bring him a totem from one of the camps of the Free People. That is, the Arazalians who worship their ancestors' gods, instead of the Lightborn, and live as nomads. Since you're part Arazalian, I'll just assume you know a little about the conflict between the civilized and the Free People there. The assassinations, the blood feuds, and so on. The usual, if two sides both believe they're on the right side of history. Anyway, obviously this job of mine originated from that feud. The totem belonged to a free tribe, and the snob wanted it in order to publicly defile it. So I got it for him. Oh, why, of course. I still cried myself to sleep months after that. Seriously, why should I? Both the free and civilized are so eager to bash each other's heads in. It's not like one defiled totem more or less would have made any difference. Correct. And I was a little drunk and a little lonely, if you get what I mean. Have you ever seen a pure-blooded Arazalian woman in her 20s? It's really hard to say no to that. In any case, as you already noticed, the whole thing went down differently than expected. My face made acquaintances with a table leg and 4 absolutely untender women's feet and hands. And of course the totem was gone, together with all my clothing and money. I guess I had that coming somehow. That's what happens if you ask your loins rather than your head in the wrong situations. Yeah. That's one way to put it. But anyway, how does the saying go? A truly beautiful face can never be tarnished. Facts remain facts. Yeah, I did. Why do you ask? That's a good question. I suppose in the end, it was just a hunch I had. Plus, all these civil wars in other countries didn't exactly invite one to stay. Well, I guess that depends on where you're standing. Of course, times can be tough, especially if you come to a new city or even country where you know nobody. But if you're good at what you do, which I am, there's always work, everywhere. And yeah, I don't eat God's tongue for breakfast, but it was always enough for a roof over my head when I wanted, and some other earthly pleasures. That's what life's all about, isn't it? Now, aren't you inquisitive? Let me think. I spent most of my time abroad in Kira, and also a couple of years on the Isles of Kile. And there was this mission that led me to Maiar Aranath once. What am I, a traveling tome? I'm afraid I'm not a very good storyteller. But Kira's great. The people there are so much freer in their way of thinking. There are the great bazaars, the palaces of the merchant lords, and the fortress of the mages' circles. But you just have to see it for yourself someday. Oof. Different. As beautiful as the Isles are, there's always this feeling of rush and competition. Have you ever heard of the game penny? On Kile, it's not a crime if a merchant tries to cheat a customer. It's the customer's fault if he doesn't see the fraud. But if he does, the merchant owes him a token penny. Bizarre, isn't it? But over there, it's common practice. Yeah, it is. I was there with a group of mercenaries. We were hired to get something from a tower in the old capital. Not a nice spot of earth, truly. There's this fog everywhere, and with every step you take, you have to be careful the swamps don't get the better of you. But of course, that's also what makes it exciting. Wonderful. Here, this is the place where the aged man's manor is supposed to be. Lead on. I'll follow you.